Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind the Studs. Hey Jim,
Hey, bud.
how are you?
A lot better than you.
A lot of people are a lot better than me.
Yeah, you've had
Yeah.
a rough week, kid.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I look like I made a joke about Jane Doe.
Looks like you fell off your BMX.
Yeah, I fell off my BMX.
Yeah.
Or, yeah. G.I. Jane, that was it. Yeah,
Woo!
that's who I look like right now.
Jeez. Bada boom.
Yeah. So big old bandage on my face. Ignore it. It's fine.
No.
It's all good.
It's all right.
And then my wrist.
I hate
That's
to
a
see
whole
the other
story.
guy.
That's a
Hate to
whole
see
story.
the other guy.
Absolutely not
Oh
a
my God.
hair out of place on that
I'm
basket.
telling
Yeah. So what have you been up to, my friend?
Well, of course, you know, I bought an old house.
Yes, we all know you bought an
We
old
can
house,
go
yes.
into it again next week, but
Uh-huh.
today they were working on the roof on the back end of it.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And I actually should give a picture. You could post it because there's no plywood on it.
Oh,
But the planks that they used on my house.
yeah.
I mean, they're like an inch and a half thick. It's trees,
Wow. That's awesome.
and they're like 18 inches wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 foot on center on the post and beam.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then I have another story that I'm going to share with you next week
Okay.
because it's freaking creepy. It's really creepy. I found out some stuff on the house,
Oh no.
and it comes right out of a horror movie.
Great.
You know, the old houses in the attic.
Uh-huh.
That's mine.
Okay.
It's got to do with the attic.
Did they find Bigfoot up there?
They didn't find Bigfoot.
All right.
I'm just glad it's not haunted because it has everything to do with totally. Oh my God. Yeah, I could see that happening. If
Really?
People heard about that in my house. Oh yeah.
Oh no kidding.
Oh,
All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, I'll remind you about that next week.
Oh, you won't have to.
Okay. Good. Well,
All right.
enough about us.
Yes.
Yes, we have a guest today,
I know.
so we have to be on our good behavior.
No, we don't.
No? Okay,
Nope.
good. So we're welcoming Brian Wick from 1 Hour Heating and Air
Hey, Brian. Hi, Bri.
Hello.
out of Ohio. I'll just say Ohio.
Ohio.
Medina. There you go. I was
Medina,
sitting here
Ohio.
struggling with it. I'm like, I should
Everybody
just say
does.
Ohio. It just-
Everybody does.
It sounds just like
yes, it does.
done with that.
I think we all know where you were going. sir.
I
Yes.
couldn't think of something
Thank
else.
you. Thank you.
No.
Hey, Brian, welcome to the show, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yes. It's not your typical home improvement remodeling podcast, but
As you can
yeah,
tell.
as you can tell.
That's
Yeah.
good. Well, I might have creeped up on your guys' site and watched a few to kind of get your vibes.
Oh,
so,
jeez.
We have our vibe.
We appreciate your dedication. Thank you, sir.
That's right. Did my homework.
Yep. We appreciate that. So tell us a little about yourself. What do you do?
So my name is Brian Wick, Medina, Ohio. I'm the general manager and owner of the 1 Hour, our local 1 Hour in Medina, and also a Benjamin Franklin Plumbing down in Dayton, Ohio as well. And also I'm part of a partial or shareholder in a QTL Holdings company, which is a holding company that we do work with other companies, consulting, and then we can kind of branch out into some other home service industries. So it's not just heating and cooling. We branched out into some different areas as well, even though I know we're talking heating and cooling today.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, that's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah.
So I could hire you to fix my remodeling company.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, good luck.
Yeah.
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 I've worked
good luck.
I've worked with a lot of different companies over the years. So I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So not much that can surprise me anymore.
I keep saying the same thing, but damn it, if I'm not surprised.
Right.
I know,
Yeah.
it's amazing how
Yeah.
that works. I was actually just
It's
talking to my
yeah.
operations manager about that. He's like, "Man, you just get one thing settled and then all of a sudden something else." And I said, "Yeah, well, that's you enjoy those little times in between, those like 5 minutes you get a piece. Enjoy those."
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Oh man, and then with the pandemic and everything else, I mean, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, talk about ever changing model. You know, there's really
Yeah,
crazy.
we completely reinvented our companies through that, which
I bet.
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty cool. So especially being that we're kind of all over the state of Ohio, using technology and Skype and Zoom and different platforms to do things that we would, never could do before. So that's been pretty cool.
That is cool. I'm just starting to learn how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's taken me a while.
You and me both.
That's why we go, Marissa, hit record for us, please.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
We have to.
Yeah.
We have to do what?
You're
What are we gonna? We got to stand on our heads to
Right.
get more viewers.
I gotta
that's
hit
right.
record and then stop record.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, just let it keep
Right.
recording. It's fine.
Right. So how long have you been doing this?
So I started on June 15th, 1994.
Oh, wow.
About a week, just to be extremely specific.
Uh-huh.
I I started about a week after high school graduation. My
Oh,
brother,
wow.
my brother actually started this company originally, him and his wife, and
Mhm.
I was their first employee, and just kind of worked my way up from I would carry the sheet metal into the basement or out of the basement, whatever needed. I was good at taking out
Sure.
trash, sweeping floors. Then I worked my way up into a installation position, an installation manager, and then into service, operations, sales. I've done everything within the home service industry. I've done it all.
Wow.
I was general manager. I'm still active general manager for our locations. But I'm really not involved in the day-to-day so much. I have wonderful managers that take care of a lot of things for me, so that I can working on our business and not so much in our business,
Right.
which is
Understood.
a great thing to be. So, but been doing this a long time. I'm coming up, knocking on the door of 30 years. So
30
Wow,
years. Look
man.
at
yeah,
you.
so so I've been around for a while.
Nice.
Yep.
30 years. That's like as long as I've known you.
I know.
God.
That's crazy.
30 years.
Yeah, I've been doing it 16.
Yeah.
So that's enough.
It goes fast. And like I said, I was the guy in the truck. I was the guy I've done every facet of our industry. So I've been pretty lucky in that, like that capacity.
Geez, he's so lively. It's like he's got such spunk.
That's right.
Hey,
Yeah.
how are you? Guys in our age are like,
Yeah, a little shot of espresso or something.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
I still got a little fire in my belly. Well, I just went and did my CrossFit workout for the day. So I'm still pumped up. I'm still pumped up on that a little bit. Yeah.
Look at you. Look at you.
Yeah.
I did my CrossFit.
I stopped sweating in time for the podcast, so that was good.
Oh, good. Yeah, we appreciate that.
I did my CrossFit today too.
Did you?
Yeah, I put my foot up on the stool and I tied my shoe.
There you go.
2 of them.
I hope you breathe properly.
Now I need a nap.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I mean, that is always, the thing too, when you were saying, you working, outside of the field, and that is always the hardest thing to make that transition. I was just talking to a guy that's a mason, and I've known him for years, and he started his own company a couple of years back, and he's probably I think he's in his 3rd year, and he's like, it's getting really, really hard. And I said, I hear you. I did it for about 6 or 7 years before I finally hired somebody, to handle the phone calls and handle the scheduling and all that stuff, so that, you're not in the field trying to do everything.
Right.
It's just impossible. Especially when you hit a certain level, then you just really, are you making your company more money by being in the field, or by actually stepping out of the field and working on sales and, that sort of thing. So,
yeah. And I've been lucky enough to work with some other wonderful companies to help those owners make those transitions, because that's one of the biggest bottlenecks in our industry is a lot of times it's the owners, and it's hard for them to really face that and understand that. And, I've been pretty blessed at, helping a lot of great companies, a lot of great owners just kind of make that next step. I actually did a podcast yesterday. I'm a reoccurring guest on a different podcast that's all about entrepreneurship, and
cool.
the topic is really about how to take that next leap. So to your point, like, being in 3 years and getting to that, I need somebody. And I get to be a reoccurring guest on that podcast and talk about those things with different entrepreneurs, which is pretty cool. And those are people from all kinds of industries. I mean, you name it.
Oh, not just home improvement.
Yeah. Okay. It's all different facets. So that's pretty cool. I get to learn a lot from them, actually. So they don't realize how much I'm absorbing from them, learning things outside of our industry. It's great.
We'll give them a plug. Tell us the name.
It's H for Hustle.
H for Hustle. I like that.
Yeah, H for Hustle. Yeah, it's on all your major streams, your Spotify and Apples and all that stuff. And so go check it out. He's got a wonderful podcast going on there. So
nice. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we like to highlight some of the big shows that are out there.
Sure.
Yeah, they're helping people out. So
for sure,
especially when it's in the field too. We enjoy that. We often talk about the trades and getting people back into them again and making them look sexy again. As opposed to a cheap way out of not going to college, take the easy way out when it's not anything even remotely like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It just drives us crazy. But
yeah,
I know.
I'm sure I mean, how is it with the finding help?
So one of the biggest things we did a few years ago is one of my best friends is a recruiter. That was what he did for a living. Well, I started recruiting him to be my recruiter, and I recruited him.
Nice.
And I recruited him way before I actually could really afford a recruiter or even really needed one. But I could see like where the company was going, so I hired him in, and I said, "Hey, I need you to do your recruiting because it's so hard to find people. But I also have these other duties that I want you to do for mentoring, training, and he's a really good trainer." So he came in under that premise, and he's done a wonderful job to where now we're probably one of the only people or only service companies. We have a line of people waiting to come to work for us. And
That's
you know,
crazy.
and you talk to so many other contractors and they're just struggling for people. And we're kind of the other side of the coin where we have a great bench full of people wanting to come work for us. So it's been we've been lucky in that capacity. I think it's because we have, 1 Hour is such a wonderful company to work for, and we have such a great culture that people want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the secret is just having a great culture, having a great team, and bringing those people in, and they just want to be a part of it. When they kind of get it, they kind of dip their toe in the water of what we're doing. They want to be a part of it. They get excited, and that's we're lucky in that capacity.
What
Nice.
the hell are we doing wrong up here on the East Coast?
please. We're doing a lot wrong. First of all, we're in Connecticut, all right?
We're the East Coast.
Yeah,
It's
I
just like that doesn't. This guy's got too much rays of sunshine. It's just ridiculous.
So
Why do we got him on the show? There's no gloom and doom out of this guy. That's all we deal with every day.
Yeah.
I live on the sunny side of the street.
There you go.
Spit that out.
Yeah,
But
well, we used to. Now we all have skin cancer.
Oh, geez.
That's fantastic.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But you know what, Brian? You used a word that I did not agree with, and that was luck. You said you're lucky. You guys are not lucky. You guys are putting in the time and you're putting in the effort, and it's showing. So
yeah, I agreed. I always say to your point, you create your own luck.
Yes, agreed.
And
Yep.
but I'm blessed with a good team. We have a great culture. We have just great people. My operations managers are wonderful. I mean, everybody from the call taker. I just got invited to be part of a panel from 1 Hour because they were talking about retention. And we've only had about a 6% churn rate. We just don't lose people.
Nice.
And yeah, I mean, we've lost 2 people, and one of them was because he passed away.
Oh, geez.
But I mean,
that's a good excuse.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll let him off the hook for that.
Yeah.
So we just really don't lose people, which is we're just lucky that way. Well, not lucky. We create our own luck, but we just have a great culture. And 1 Hour is like I said, 1 Hour is a wonderful company to work for. It's a wonderful franchise.
Nice.
So
yeah, but, okay, so how do you make that go national? You know what I mean? This is the first guy that we've had on the show. I mean, who's talking about employment, who's just like people are waiting to get in to work for him. Where, like we just talked about before, you almost have to get people by gunpoint to come work for you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I mean that's probably a whole different podcast. I'm happy to do it with you.
Nice.
But there's definitely some philosophies to that I have some very specific core values that are very outside of our industry, that I bring into our industry that work. And when I was still working with my brother used to kind of scratch his head at some of the things that I would do, but the proof was in the pudding. We had people, we were doing the right things and we were growing, and year over year we've grown 10% plus year over year. Right now this year I think we're up 17% again this year.
Sure.
I mean, we just keep doing the right things and keep moving forward, and it's all the people. We have a brand ambassador on staff that her job is really just to go out there into the world and just be our company cheerleader, and that's really, and we're not a big company. We're, our heating and cooling company is about 2.7 million, and our plumbing company is about 1.5, 1.4. So we're not like this huge company.
Yeah.
We just redirect funds in a very different way. Like where some people have a marketing budget for newspaper and direct mail and all those things. I funnel that all into my brand ambassador, and I say, I want you to go out there and meet people, shake, I always say, go shake the babies and kiss the hands, right?
Right, exactly.
And but go be that person. And because we do things so differently and so outside the box, it works. And it draws people to what we're doing, and people want to be a part of it, and it's awesome.
Well,
But like I said, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, but it sounds to me there's a lot of recognition on your part. Like the person you hire recognizes everybody who is in the system.
Yeah.
It's just not just a day-to-day thing. It gives them incentive.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, what's the age range of usually of the people that are employed by or
let's see. I think our youngest guy is probably. I think he just turned 21. Yeah, he did just turn 21 because we're trying to take him out. He didn't want any part of it. So he's 21, and then I think I'm going to say our oldest employee probably 63.
Geez, that's 1 more year. 1 year older than me.
one more year for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Somewhere right in that neighborhood. But one of the things that we did in the hiring process is I stopped making the decision on who we hired. My recruiter would find the people, he'd do all the pre-screening. So by the time they would come to me and my managers, they were already pre-screened. We knew they were quality people. I would sit down with them, and the only thing that I would do during the interview process is see if it was an easy conversation like this is.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it was an easy conversation, then you kind of got to go on to the next step. And I always said, if I can see myself going to a baseball game with you, having a couple beers and having a good time, then you get to go to the final phase of the interview process.
Mm-hmm.
And the final phase of the interview process is we bring that person in and we allow them to meet the team, either they can come into a team meeting, they could do a ride along for the day, and my team hires the person. We don't. We just bring them the quality people because we say, you have to work with this person every single day, not me.
Right.
So if you don't like this person, you're just gonna be disgruntled, and you're one of you is gonna quit.
Right. Exactly.
So we tell the candidate and our team, we say, you guys got to make sure that you guys can play nice together and like each other. It comes down to that. And we've had some great candidates that I brought through the door that I thought were great, and my team goes, no way. And but since we started doing that, that was a game changer for our culture, because now our employees really have buy-in to what they have a say.
Yep, which is great.
That's fantastic. I had a job interview. Oh my God, 100 years ago, up in Worcester, for this guy for putting in replacement windows, but it was like he wanted me to be a salesman. Mm-hmm. It didn't really go well because he told me I looked like Satan because I had a goatee. I had a goatee. He goes, yeah, you got to shave that off because you look like Satan.
Yeah,
you got that Satan look. I'm like, really? I was an altar boy. Does that make any difference?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe a guy said that to me.
Wow.
Hey, there was a time for that. There was no facial hair, no visible tattoos, no this, no that. I mean, I remember because when I was kind of doing sales, that was a thing. And I always said, I got to be me at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
And we had some push pull on that topic to where now we're pretty, hey, come as you are. Just make sure you take a bath.
Something, please, really. Yeah.
Wow, that's something.
Well, actually, I have a dress code policy on our company, so there are certain things that I'm okay with, and certain things I'm just not. And it's unfortunate. It's right. I mean, because it's not you that's judging them; it's your customers that are judging them. Mm-hmm. And 100%. Is judgment wrong? Absolutely, judgment's wrong. But once we would have some guys that would come in with full sleeves, tattoos on both sides, and I'm okay with that. But when you first meet my customer, can you at least put on a long sleeve shirt? And they're gonna fall in love with you like they did every single time. They always fell in love with this guy. And then when the tattoos came out, they weren't freaked out as much by it, and it's unfortunate, but that's that is part of the perception, it just is what it is.
And we're the same way. We, everybody comes in with a nice shirt, and you look the part when you show up. And then once you get in and you're comfortable, then hey, let's make yourself comfortable so you can do the job, and you're not trying to be bundled up and cover yourself either.
Exactly.
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But
well, it's funny that you've been in this business all since the very beginning. I mean, you kind of strike me as a guy that I would say I'm not, the exact same as you, but I come from a corporate background, hospitality, food and beverage, that sort of a thing. And there's different ways, that we looked at business than the people that are currently in my field. They have a very different approach to business, and, business 101, like I call it, is, actually showing up for your estimates and calling people back. And it's the little things. I mean, it's not that difficult.
It is.
But in this industry, it can be very difficult for owners to get out of their own way.
Correct.
So it's interesting that you've gotten all of your experience through this type of industry, but you didn't have any period of time when you went outside of it.
No, not since high school. When I was in
Wow.
high school, I worked for my dad. My dad did flooring, commercial and residential flooring, and I
Mhm.
started working with him when I was about 8 or 9 years old. My mom had some health issues when I was young, and my daycare was get off the bus and go to work.
Mhm.
And so I grew up around guys that were in the trades, running crews. And by the time I was about 13 years old, my dad would take me on these jobs that were like commercial. So you show up at 5 o'clock after everybody leaves. And
Yeah.
my job was I ran a crew of people that we would move all the furniture out so that they could come in and do the carpet. And then eventually I graduated to spreading glue. And by the time I was like 16, 18 years old, I was running jobs.
Wow.
And I remember it vividly. My dad was like, "Hey, if you really want to do this, let's talk about it, what it looks like." And I remember sitting there and looking at a couple of his workers, and they all had that carpet layers walk, with their knees are kind of bowed
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the dude's like 30, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I don't want any part of this. I'm
No,
gonna."
no,
And
no.
and that's around the time my brother was starting up this other company, and I'm like, "I'm gonna go try that."
Yeah.
So, and then I just never left. The
Nice.
only other thing I did was I did telemarketing sales for a little
Oh,
while.
bless you.
It was awful.
Yeah.
But I did it for a minute, and I sold grass treatment.
There you go. There you
There you
go.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I tried advertising sales, cold call. Oh, that
yeah,
was awful.
yeah,
Awful. Awful.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
got
I mean,
I got a
I was
question.
yeah.
Go ahead. I got a question.
Yep.
So in the process of employment, here's a double-edged sword. You have a guy you come across really good in the trade, fantastic in the trade, can do it blindfolded, has been doing it for years. Grumpy as the son of a bitch.
Not working for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's
Yeah.
it. Because
Excellent answer.
because where do you throw the baby out with the bathwater? And you are because even though you've got someone with experience and very, very talented, if he's not the people person, you can't hire him. You
Yeah,
can't.
so much of our industry is fixing the client before you ever fix the equipment, and you have to be able to come in there and be
Great
personable.
point.
Because they're calling us because they have an issue, right? They're not happy. So they woke up in the morning, they got no AC, they're hot and
Mhm.
sweaty, they know it's going to cost them money, they're inconvenienced, they already hate you.
It's your fault.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so we hire for personality, from the call takers to the technicians to everybody in our company. I've had some, to your point, I've had some wonderful people that have all the skills, but they can't talk themselves out of a paper bag, and
Mhm.
or they're
They don't
just-
want to talk. They don't want to
yeah,
talk.
they just want to go in and fix it, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, we only give our technicians about 3 calls a day, where the industry average is about 9. And
Wow.
I only
Yeah.
give them 3. And
Mhm.
that's always a hard pill for my technicians to swallow, because they come in and they're like, "Well, how am I going to make a living off of 3 calls?" And then I bring them in and I explain to them, like, our whole philosophy is to go in and spend time, fix the client before you ever fix the equipment. If that customer wants to make you coffee and cookies, guess what you're going to do? Sit down, have some coffee and cookies, because once they like and trust you, what are they going to do from you? They're going to take
Everything.
your recommendations,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
I have to say that being a point, because me being an independent contractor, and then when he starts out and he's doing this thing and I'm doing my thing, or whatever
Mhm.
guy that goes in, that's a very valid point, because as soon as that doorbell rings or we knock on the door and we're meeting with the customer for the first time, there's a lot going on there. There's a lot of
There is.
exchange without any words even being spoken. Each
You
one
bet.
is sizing each other up. How's this person going to be reacting towards me? And they're exactly right. You have to make them feel comfortable and assured that you know what you're doing, and at the same time you're respectful to their property. When Colin and I talked about this years ago, when we always made sure that we had a drop cloth and a dustpan and a broom.
Mhm.
And if you
Right.
showed that, as soon as you walked in the door, you threw that over the threshold, boom, right then and there, these people are going to take care of my house even if I'm not home.
100%.
You know what I mean? Things,
Yeah.
just little things like that. Little things like that.
Yeah, I teach a whole class on that, where you only have 16 seconds from the time you hit the time you park your truck. You have 16 seconds to make that impression, because they're watching you. They're watching you from the windows.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if you delay exit out of the vehicle, or you get out and you put your cigarette out on their front doorstep, I mean, in all these,
Yep.
I've seen all these things.
Sure.
You have put yourself in a hole already. And then if you can pass the first 16 seconds and they feel comfortable with you knocking on the door, you only have 2 minutes basically in order to win them over. And that's
Mhm.
it. And it's that first 2 minutes and 16 seconds of the call is the most important time during the call. And then if you're lucky enough for them to invite you in and say, hey, would you like some cookies? Always take the cookies, because people, you know how many people take pride in their bakery?
Mm-hmm.
Never knew that.
That's a thing. And if you say, no, I'm good. You've almost insulted some people because what, my cookies aren't good enough for you? I've been working on these all day, right?
That is so funny you said that. I offered the guys that they worked on my roof today.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a hard bunch of guys? All right,
Yeah.
we got stories. But anyway, I said to the guys, "Hey, anybody want coffee? I'm good. And then there's two guys. I would love a cup of coffee. All right, great. How do you take it? And then I made 2 cups of coffee for the 4 out of the 5 guys.
Right.
Who really enjoyed the cup of coffee. And the other guys were like, you should have got my coffee. You really should have had my coffee. You would feel so much better if you had my coffee.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good twist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I teach a whole 8-hour class that I teach on just the art of parking your vehicle, getting into the front door, and just it has nothing to do with turning a wrench. It's all the customer service side.
Body
And
language.
everybody in my company goes through. They have to spend 8 hours with me. Every single person.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's so important to me and how we present ourselves and what we do. Those first impressions are so important.
Yeah. No, agreed. All right.
So,
now we're going to talk about HVAC.
all right.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
That's why we
This
have
was
him
so
here.
much. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Invite me back. Invite me back.
You're
for
coming
another
back.
one.
Trust me. Yeah. Well, if you answer your phone, you're coming back. But
I will answer my phone. I promise.
okay, good. Yeah, we appreciate that. I wish I could take credit for this line, but I find it awesome because of who we are. But it's time to go behind the filter.
It's terrible. Just keep going.
I didn't come up with that. It wasn't me.
Good. You should have left it where it was. Cornball.
So Brian, you have some advice for homeowners and what they should be asking their technicians and what they should be doing for maintenance and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that, as a homeowner, that you should be asking them is, the technician should be bringing you along for the call for the education portion of it. If the technician doesn't, I would highly recommend you go along for the journey. You'll learn something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some of the things you should be asking are, how does my ductwork look? Is it clean? That's a big thing. Dirt and debris is so detrimental to an HVAC system. It's the number one killer by far. So you should be asking, what does the ductwork look like? What does my blower wheel look like? What does my evaporator coil look like? These are the things that you should be asking as a homeowner of your technician, because your technician, a quality technician, they basically have a camera that they'll run up into these areas and they can see them. And they should be showing you those things. And and as a homeowner, you should be requiring to see those things. That's what you're paying for.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important. Like I said, dirt and debris is so detrimental to a system. We have a thing I always say, it's, what is dirt and debris made of in a home? Do you guys know?
Dander for one, right? Dander, dust, hair.
Yeah. Right. It's hair, dead skin cells, and all that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
fingernails and all that other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a matter of what you're breathing; it's who. let that sink in for a second, and now think of this. Now let that
not to.
Yeah. So now think of this. So you just bought a brand new house, right? And now you have this dust. So now you're not even breathing your own family.
All right. Well, hey, Brian, it was great having you.
This just took a right turn. Oh my God.
Okay.
But those are some of the most important things
scales.
as a homeowner that you really should be asking and requiring of your technician in your home.
Yeah.
Now, is there a reason why you may have more dirt and debris in your ductwork than somebody else would? I mean, or is it pretty standard
conditions?
No, it's the environment changes for sure. I mean, if you have a lot of kids and your house is very active, kids, dogs, pets, all those kinds of things, they all create dirt and dust. And if you have a home that's not very active and it's just maybe 1 or 2 people in there, you don't see the dirt and debris. But if I walk into a house and I see a mudroom, that's generally where they bring you through, and you see a bunch of kids' shoes.
Yeah.
And then you see the food bowl for the pet in the kitchen, right?
Yep.
You already know. You better be checking the ductwork. You better check the blower wheel. You better check all the areas for cleanliness because it's so important. Just having your furnace tuned up every year is, it's unbelievably important. And it's amazing how many people forget about it, or they don't remember to change the filters. But these are the things as a homeowner, you should definitely be asking of your technician of, hey, let me see what this looks like. Let me see what that looks like. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of technicians in our industry, they don't work at 1 hour, but they'll skimp on some areas and like, I didn't want to get my camera out and check those areas. And it looks probably good. It's probably fine. They had their ductwork cleaned 5 years ago. It's probably still okay. As a homeowner, this is what you're paying for. You should have that technician checking those things and educating you and showing you. It's all a big show and tell.
Interesting.
Right. Okay.
Now, is there and I guess this could be conditional as well. Is there a frequency that you recommend changing filters?
So it depends on the filter, obviously, and it also depends on the environment.
Okay.
And this is a huge topic. So every system is different, and I always equate it to like your system is running a marathon every single time it turns on, right? So think of it like it's running, it's trying to breathe. Now, suddenly I think I tell that system, or I tell that person that's running the marathon that you need to breathe through a straw. The whole marathon, that's what you need to do. And that's what a lot of people do when they put these high allergy filters in, they get at their local big box stores, right? Because it says on there, filters out all these allergies, does all these great things, right? The problem is their system was never designed for it. So they're actually doing more harm than good to the system. While they may be filtering the air, they're making that furnace run a marathon breathing through a cocktail straw. And they will they'll absolutely destroy the system in record time. And then they'll wonder why am I having all these problems? I do the filter all the time. So it comes down to the filter or down to the system and what filter they're using.
Right.
One of the things that if you're ever thinking of upgrading your filtration system is to have your technician do a static pressure test on the system. And what that does is it tells you how well can your system really breathe? What is the ductwork condition? And then you can make some decisions based off of that number of what kind of filter you can put in there. Because if you just throw an allergy filter in there because you bought it at the local store, I promise you 9 times out of 10, you're really damaging your system.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Remember that lady we had on our show that wanted us to change the filter like every week?
Yeah.
She's like, shut the windows, get the filters on. I'm like, is it Armageddon or something? Jeez, we're supposed to get some fresh air to breathe through. Yeah. I
mean, there's some systems out there that I've worked on personally that I tell the people, I'm like, I would love to sell you a really nice upgraded filter, but the reality of it is you're better off with one of those cheap 99-cent ones, the blue ones that everybody sees, and just change it every 30 days. You're better. You're better off with that. And there's electronic air cleaners, which are great because they allow the system to breathe, but also pick up all the fine particles. So if somebody has a system that's a little marginal on the static pressure, I'll recommend something along those lines because it'll pick up all those small microns while still allowing the system to breathe. But people sometimes get a little bit of sticker shock, but they work so well. I mean, I have one in my own home. They work amazing.
Yeah.
But it just really comes down to the system and the environment.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, question for you.
Yes.
Where's the weirdest place you had to service one of those units? Where they put them?
Man, there's been a couple. I had one that was actually in a part of a tunnel that was originally part of the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
That was probably that was up there on the list.
Yeah.
It was they had put a unit back in there for this addition on the house, and it turned out that this tunnel that came out and then went out and came out up in the front yard was actually, and it was in a historical home, was actually part of the original Underground Railroad. That was a pretty unique one.
That is pretty unique.
Yep, I've been in some crazy attics. I've chased off raccoons and snakes under trailers. Yes. I mean, there's been some wild ones to say the least.
Great crawl spaces, I'm sure.
Yeah, some of these crawl spaces, I would take my razor knife with me when I went in there because I didn't know what I was going to be attacked by, and it was the only weapon that I kind of had. Start waving the knife around.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, there-
Yeah.
there's
No
some, there's
thanks.
some no, it's always every morning when you wake up in this industry, you just never know what you're about to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is kind of
That's
why I
crazy.
liked it, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, hey, listen, it was great having you on the show.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, for sure. I'm it was a pleasure being on here. If you ever want to chit chat about some other topics, I'm all ears or all mouth, I guess I should say.
We appreciate that. So, how do people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm Brian Wick, and then the number 11. That's a good place to find me. Facebook, I'm also on there. My profile picture is generally a guy riding a BMX bike because I do race competitive BMX.
All right.
But I'm always happy to, anybody can find me. All my pages are public. Find me on there. If you need to talk to me, shoot me a private message, and I'm always happy to, I'll respond pretty timely.
Nice.
How old are you?
I'm 46.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's got damn ray of sunshine.
Wait till he turns 50. It all goes downhill when he turns 50. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's exactly true. Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait till he hits 60.
Well, and you caught me in the tail end of the day where I'm kind of like I'm winding down a little bit. I did go and work out, so I probably got a little bit of pre-workout still
Yeah, you
pumping
stuff
through
that,
my
yeah.
system. But
See, that's
yeah,
my problem. I work out in the morning.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what happens, and it's all gone by now.
Yeah,
I work
usually
out
around-
8 hours a day.
Yeah, usually around 10 o'clock in the morning, it's like I'm shot out of a cannon, and that's when I'm probably the most productive, but people don't want to be around me because I'm
Oh, I
800
could see
miles
that.
an hour.
Wow.
Oh, I
Yeah,
can see that.
yeah,
Oh, I can
yeah.
see that.
Your brother's
Yeah.
like,
Here it comes
listen,
again.
no.
Oh, here
Yeah,
it comes again.
I'm a little bit driven, and I just don't stop.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? It shows. So good for
Yeah,
you.
That's
I appreciate
great, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody check out Brian. Check out that other podcast too, H is for Hustle. And that sounds pretty cool. All right, Jimmy.
Nice meeting you, buddy.
Nice to meet you guys too.
All right, thank
All
you.
right.
Really
All right,
appreciate
see
it.
ya.
Take care.
See
Take
ya.
care.
Bye.
Bye.